let's first of all just arrive in this space with a lot of new faces today. There's been a lot of energy. There's been some people doing their work, some people just arriving, lots of people getting set up, having some food and drinks. So let's arrive. I'll lock the door. Beautiful. All right. Yeah. So if we can just sit in our own space, close your eyes for a minute, and we're going to take 3 deep breaths in your own time, just so that you're here in this space. Connecting with your intention of why you're here, why you're here today. And setting the intention before we start. So we stand together in unity and purpose, gathered with a shared vision of harmony and prosperity. May wisdom, truth, and justice guide our path. And may we uphold the rights, dignity, and freedom of all. With strength and clarity, we commit to the good of this nation and all who call it home. And so it is, and so it shall be. Thank you. All right, we've actually got a really full agenda this afternoon. I'm very excited for all that we've got to share with you. So we're just going to kick onto it and just power through, and a lot of participation throughout the afternoon. So let's make a start. So just a reminder of why we're here. We're here to assemble in peace. We're here to connect and create community and to create a brand new country. We aren't here to have a revolution going around in circles. We're not here to get rid of existing government. And we don't condone or advocate for violence. Why are we assembling? This is governments by the people, for the people. So it's how we express the collective will of our people and how we enact that will. How we uphold and administer the law, and how we protect and defend our communities. And this is based on an actual internationally accepted, proven model that we're learning from the American government, just back in existence once upon a time. Many countries on earth are assembling, and we're excited to be collaborating with them, and we'll hear a bit more about our international movements and outreach a little bit later. So, we're here about participation, so thank you for being here. It's wonderful to see all these new faces here today. Participation comes in many forms, and if you've been here before, you would have seen this lever. So it's all about moving from here, where the GovCo has the power. Instead of sitting on the fulcrum, we're actually moving. We're taking steps to take back the power and to move that balance of power. So by doing that, you're turning up and you're here in the room today, you're listening on the live stream if you're here that way, or you're sharing the terrestrials and newspaper, or you're starting your own assembly. So doing any of these actions help move us all forward. And other ways that we're doing that is creating unity with other groups. So various groups doing various things at the moment, and the collaboration that's happening is increasing all the time. So creating that unity is another way of getting the message out there and getting the balance of power back. So to tell you what we've got ahead this afternoon, first of all, we're just kicking off with some TASA updates to put you in the picture of where things are, because there's a lot going on at the moment. Some Moreton Bay specific updates as well. We've got some fire awareness and skills training, because one of the things that we want to bring to you each month now is some life skills, so you're taking away stuff every time that you come to one of these events, taking away something new. We've got a presentation to a guest speaker, Rodney's here from Moreton Bay Safe Communities. So this is actually, this room here is the home of Moreton Bay Safe Communities, and how we actually set up here in the first place. So we're very honoured to have Rodney join us this afternoon. We've got an exercise, sit where you fit. So it's going to delve a bit more into the pillars. So it's going to be a great learning experience to find out more about our assemblies. This is going to be led by our baggage committee members who are here today. And at the end, for those who are part of and moving forward with the community trade and parallel community type stuff, we're going to set you up with the teaming wallet to facilitate that. There'll be a bit on that on the way through. So that's what we're looking at today. Full agenda, as I said. So let's go. First of all, National Assembly update. So if you've heard, if you haven't heard, maybe you've been on the rock somewhere, but at the Queensland retreat, we did declare independence and peace, and that was on the 6th of July. And those documents were autographed, which is a pretty momentous occasion, and exciting to be part of all that. So I guess the question is, where to from here? And that's what we're focusing on now. So the next step is the invocation of law. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit to start with. And first of all, I've dropped into our Moreton Bay Assembly Telegram chat these resources, so you can have a look at the discussion here that's been brought forward by Sarah and Wayne on Northern Australis, talking about Invocation of Law Part 1 and Part 2. And you'll actually find there on the right-hand side is the latest version of the Invocation of Law on the National Assembly website. So, there's none other better to speak on this topic than Darren. We're going to have a chat about
On the right circle, mate.
I've got a copy of it here, and I've got slides on the screen that go through all that. So if you want to just talk us through the Invocation of Law and just any feedback, we'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. Can you hear me if I speak like this?
Yep.
Yeah. I might do that. Okay, so I guess my theme at the moment in the posts that I do and the discussions that I have is that we need to be thinking big. There is a tendency for us to sort of shrink, and we look around and we go, oh, in the little chart showing the balance of power shift that we're bringing about, GovCo's got all of the power at the moment. They got the authority, they got the guns, they got the vast majority of the population that are acquiescing to everything that they ask because they don't know. Well, he's tapping his head. It's about mind control. We're managed and controlled through a narrative. And the more we learn, the stuff that Mookie brings forward is beautiful because it breaks that narrative. And we get to see what reality is. And once you can see through the narrative, once you are able to interpret everything that you see and read that they're throwing at us, it's pretty easy to step back and go, well, that's all fraud, it's all fake, and we need to step into the true power that we have. And even their system admits that we're where the authority rests, but we don't step into that authority. And what happens is somebody will do it, like Warren will step into his authority, but he'll get slapped because he hasn't got a big bunch of people around him to support. But we're changing that. That is changing. And as we step into our authorities, we start to recognise we've got to be thinking big. So what are the assemblies? The assemblies are the way that this country will be governed going forward. It's pretty simple. Everybody here knows that the government is a private for-profit corporation. And it benefits by causing harm to us, by keeping us dumb, keeping us sick, and they do really, really well when we die, which is why they're going through the process at the moment of collecting on the trusts, shall we say. So we're standing the structure of governance that will tell the service providers, the corporate government, what they can and can't do. And that's a pretty big deal. It's not that we want to do away with government, as Fiona said. What we want to do is get them under control. Stop the services that are causing harm. So everything that they charge us for, they consider a service, whether it's poking poisons into us or spraying us like bugs. They consider that a service. So we can stop those when we assemble them and we do it properly. So our governance structure has some requirements to meet, and we're being very careful to dot the I's and cross the T's as we go through this process. The first part is the assembly itself. So each assembly is modelled on the structure of governance that was put in place in 1776 on America. So we're learning from the Americans. But we're doing that because that model is internationally accepted as a true and proper form of governance. So if we do that, we will get international recognition. And we've already secured international recognition, we just have to have our assemblies seated. So I won't go through the pillars in detail, but the other elements that we have to have in place is, number one, we have to declare independence, which we have now done, and that is a massive deal. The most important document in the American history is their Declaration of Independence. It's when they stood aside from the controls of the Crown, and it was internationally recognised as such. So we've done that, and we declared peace because we are doing this in peace. We have no intentions of entering any kind of a battle with the government, whether it's a paperwork battle or otherwise. We're quite happy to tell them that we've corrected our standing through our reconveyance process. We're very happy to tell them we've declared independence, that we are assembled, and that we are standing in our governance structure. So we've done that. That's a big, big step for us moving for the initiative.
Persons, especially women and children. It's also defined as Palermo Protocol violations. Palermo, P-A-L-E-R-M-O, Palermo Protocol, recognised by the United Nations. And again, it's the trafficking of trafficking of persons, especially women and children. Why women and children? Where does it all start?
Having babies.
It all starts at the bedside after the baby's born. Okay? Oh, we must register the birth. Anything registered does not belong to you. It's Regis. It does not belong to you. So we register our marriages. We register our children and our offspring. We register our automobiles. We register our homes. Everything's registered. And register the death. Well, this is the thing. So, the birth certificate is an estate trust. They're very lucrative. And the older we become, the more lucrative the trust. How's it a trust, and where's that come from? Well, everyone familiar with the word person? In law it means corporation. Person means corporation. And when you know that, it unravels pretty quickly. So every single person is entitled to their share of the common wealth. Every time a boatload of iron ore, coal seam gas, uranium, whatever it is, leaves our shores, there's tangible wealth coming back to the bank counters in Canberra. They total those cheques and they divide it by 26 million Australian persons, and it's floated on the US Stock Exchange under each person's birth certificate estate trust. These estate trusts run for 75 years. They mature after 75 years, and after 75 years they're worth billions, with a B, billions of dollars for one person. March 20, 2020. There's a pandemic announced. March 20, 2020, there's a pandemic announced. Before I give you the next date, which is exactly 1 month later, I'll repeat. Rights of masters over slaves. Slavery implies complete disability, personal and proprietary. The master can exercise over the slave the power of life and death. Everything acquired by the slave is acquired for the master. A rule formally qualified if the slave is held in usufruct. March 20, 2020, pandemic announced. April 20, 2020, oil plummets to minus $38 a barrel. Think petrodollar. Okay, so if oil plummets to minus $38 a barrel, and that's US dollars, because US dollars is the world reserve currency. Okay? At the time, the US was $33 trillion in debt. Now it's up to about 37. Everyone agree? How are they going to pay that debt? You can't cash in a birth certificate estate trust without a death certificate. Okay. And remembering that one person's worth billions of dollars. One person is worth billions of dollars. And they can't cash it in without a death certificate. So this is how they've allowed these insane national debts, which are all fraudulent anyway, but they've let them go through the roof because they had a plan to pay them all along. They need to cash in their chattel, their assets. And every time we claim to be an Aussie, Australian, there's a counterclaim. A usufruct counterclaim. Oh, you're claiming Australia? What's the definition of Australia? Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, Cocos Island, Keeley Island, includes no further territory. You're claiming to Australia? Guess what? The counterclaim is that your property belonging to that corporation. Cha-ching. Cha-ching. Think World War One. Oh, hang on. You guys know the definition of reset? Webster Dictionary, 1828. I want to write that down because I could be a fibber. Webster Dictionary, 1828. Reset is defined under Scots law. Everyone familiar with the term, got away scot-free? Under Scots law, it's to harbour outlaws and criminals. World War One, reset. World War Two, reset. They're cashing in their chattel and resetting the economy. Guess what? We're living through a reset right now. I don't know about you guys, have you noticed a few extra ambulances getting around the place nowadays? Well, they're well known as jab cabs or booster buses. Well, they're cashing in their assets. And all that monkey juice they put in the people is all manipulated with the mobile phone towers. So they can just tweak different suburbs on different days, up and down. So yeah, we're in the middle of a genocide. It's as simple as that. We're all affected by it. We've all got children or grandmas or uncles, brothers, sisters, mothers, that some of us have begged them not to do it, but they've done it. Too late. Too late. So what do we do? How can we fix the world? How can we stop this? Because this has been going on a very long time. The only way we can stop this is to get out of the usufruct bucket. Because trying to get remedy in this system by pulling on the handle is going to get you nowhere. Why? Because you're a defined thing belonging to a corporation. And they want you to seek remedy in the International Declaration of Monsters' Rights. Do you find anything wrong with that? Yeah, no, it's not a very good idea to be, to have your employees, because that's what they're meant to be, our employees defining us as things and monsters. It's uncool. Okay, the only way they can access that trust while we're still alive is through using their major services like prison. They've worked out a prisoner is gaining the state $9,000 each day that they're in prison. $9,000. This is how lucrative these trusts are. So they have a vested financial interest in our demise, our incarceration, our schooling, the indoctrination camps that they force you to go to, because if you don't go, you become a ward of the state, correct? And then you got to stand there, we are young and free. Smoking a bit of crack out the back, what's going on? There's nothing free about that, because you're forced to go, and if you don't go, you're jailed. Then they see the mind control. So, one thing quickly I want to explain a very serious maxim. It's called inclusio exclusio. Inclusio exclusio. Extremely important. So the two most important words, it used to be just usufruct, but there's two. The most important words in law, usufruct and includes. Because whenever you see the word includes in legal documentation, it quite literally means everything included intentionally excludes everything not mentioned. I'm going to repeat that. And I ask you to shut your eyes and listen to me carefully. Every time they use the word includes in a contract, it intentionally excludes everything not mentioned. Now let me give you an example. The definition of birth in Queensland and the rest of the country too. The definition of birth is, quote, includes a stillbirth, end quote. Everyone on the same page?
Yeah.
The definition of state includes everything up to the shoreline, end quote. Cool and groovy, eh? Maybe you guys aren't paying rates. Alright, if you are, you must be out at Norfolk Island.
Up to the shoreline, like up to from the middle of Australia, or up to
From the middle of Australia. Where's Australia?
From the land.
Where's Australia?
From the from
What they're saying is their jurisdiction is the sea. They're telling you. Up to the shore. It includes everything up to the shoreline. But not the land. They're not claiming the land because they can't. The blackfellow is already here. These lands weren't terra nullius. They are occupied lands. That's why Darren was saying that it's all fraud. Their common law is fraud. They created sui generis common law in the House of Lords in 1750. Sui generis is Latin meaning unique. So they created this unique common law. And if you do your homework, so this is 1750. British Empire. Now we're thinking India, South Africa, Canada. They sent tall ships all around the world with this sui generis common law. Why did they need sui generis common law? Because these pirates knew full well that all these lands were already occupied. They couldn't claim them. So they've done the same ruse in all the different countries. That's why we're working with all the other countries. Because they've pulled the same palaver in every other country. They're claiming the water off the coast of Canada, same as South Africa. It's same but different. It's all fraud. It's all inland piracy. And when they force us into jurisdiction, you guys heard of press ganging? Do you really know what it means, though? So when you leave there, because these are capital crimes, okay? When you leave their jurisdiction, because it's commercial, it's contract law. Can the manager of McDonald's come out of the store and force you to eat a Big Mac? No. If you go in there and order a Big Mac and you put your money on the counter, there's a contract made. You know, he's received the promissory wealth and you want a Big Mac, something tangible, more short. So when they force you into their jurisdiction against your will, it's called press ganging. So an example would be they're usually someone by themselves, or a woman in the car by themselves that they prefer, and they want to intimidate. And they want a contract. They're trying to force. So they're trying to garner what's called an adhesion contract. Adhesion. They want a verbal contract. They're asking especially designed questions to get you into usufruct. And if it doesn't go their way and they don't like the way it's going, they know full well that you're no threat to them. They're running around with Glocks and 40 rounds and all this sort of mace and buttons and tasers and all that. So they know full well that they're safe, but all of a sudden you've got this one guy on the side of the road with a lady in the car and he's on the radio. Back up! I need backup! I've had another one, he's got too much to think. And before you know it, there's cars all round and they're rubbing their guns and tasers and they're banging things and making lots of noise, deliberately intimidating, and even to the extent of smashing windows and dragging them out into their jurisdiction. Capital crimes. This is press ganging. They're press ganging you into corporate jurisdiction against your will. Okay? And these are the ones in World War I and World War II that were getting hung for these crimes, and they just said, I was just doing my job. Nowadays we're finding that they're deliberately told, don't read the affidavits that are being addressed to you. That's a choice. That's a choice that the officer makes. If they don't read the affidavits that are addressed to them, or in our case it's living testimony in the form of an affidavit, because only persons fill out affidavits. But if they're ignoring that affidavit, that's their problem, not yours. They're straight in the hot water. It is what it is. You don't put someone's name on an affidavit, and that someone who gets that affidavit gives it to somebody else and thinks they're off scot-free. Because at the end of the day, it's not the lawyers and the magistrates and all the solicitors, they're not the ones out with the guns smashing windows and committing these crimes. Okay, so these are the things we're dealing with. Inland piracy, press ganging, personage, forcing men and women to use the legal name against their will, personage. Under American public common law, 10 years jail. Bringing these claims to court, or fallacious claims to court, barratry, 25 years in jail. Altogether, capital crimes. Very, very serious crimes and very serious trespass that's happening against the people. So there's no harder thing to do than govern the educated man and woman. Because govern, or government, if you've got a hose and you govern the flow of water, what are you doing? You're slowing it down, you're speeding it up, you're controlling. So govern means to control, yeah? Mente, Latin. Means mind. Control the mind. They're controlling your mind. And they do it with fear and ignorance and propaganda. So, although we support all the groups, all we ask is when you're visiting these other groups, and we encourage you to, start talking about usufruct. And if they're sincere, they'll support you in your journey, and they'll be talking about usufruct, because it's the most important word in law. And are they claiming Australia? What's the definition of Australia? Acts Interpretation Act 1901, Section 2B. Australia includes Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, Cocos Island, and Keeling Island includes no further territory. So this is the journey we're on. We're on it with nations all around the world. We're working now with Anna. She's quite impressive. Now we've been given the honour of creating an international website for the International Assemblies Network. And we're seriously thinking about calling it Uniting Nations. You like that?
I like it.
Uniting Nations. So it'll be all for and by the people, out of usufruct, who are self-governing in love, peace and harmony. So there is a monetary system coming behind us, a prosperity system. The Americans have reclaimed or repatriated 160 years of purloined wealth for the people. There's more than enough wealth for 8 billion people on the planet. So check it out. Check it out on our website. Check out Global Family Group. We don't like discussing the money because the assembly is about self-governance and reconveyance. The money has purely been a cherry on the cake coming 2 years after we started our assemblies in earnest. So we never started our assemblies and we're not on this journey for money, but I tell you what, it's a lovely thing knowing that it's on its way and that it's floating. And after you reconvey, they are putting money into our accounts. It's 5,000 American Federation dollars, which if you do the translation works out to be about 1.3 million Aussie dollars. Because the Aussie dollars, they're promises and they're empty promises. AFD, American Federation dollars, not American federal dollars. Federal's corporate, federation is for the people. American Federation dollars, one American Federation dollar conservatively is worth 180 US dollars. All right, I'm on a rant. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask it.
Thanks, John. For anyone, and Rocky, great update. Thank you very much, Mayor. For anyone who wanted to reference what Rocky was talking about, basically, usufruct is talked about. Rocky writes the story in her very first paper, The Terrorist Lawsuit. And there's also
The first one.
Acts Interpretation, Section 2B was also
They're not getting more and
discarded.
more of those, they're getting less and less in first edition, so if you want to know about it, go grab it.
That's all we've got left of the first edition. It's like,
But that's all in there, the actual facts.
Page 5.
so, and the reason why we've got these particular countries up here is because they've all contributed to the first 5 editions of the Terra Australis. So we really are an international community that's wonderful to have their contributions to our paper as well. So, which is when we're moving on to the next. So the Terra Australis, we've got 5 editions out, our latest one, Building Self-Governing Communities. If you haven't yet got your hands on it, please make sure you've got a paper at least before you walk out today. Starting from the very beginning, as I said, lots of amazing stories to start with, talking about usufruct, Section 2B, what is sovereign citizen, what is Australia, what is Terra Australis, all of those sorts of things. We talk about the declarations of peace and independence, invoking law, and building self-governing communities, and this is where we're at right now. So a couple of updates I wanted to share with you today, really exciting, is we have a new website live for the Terra Australis, so it's been coming, and it's now live. So we can actually now have a digital subscription to the paper as well.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
That's until December when they want a digital ID for you.
So this is now accessible for our international community. We were talking about, they've been calling out for this, and so we've got it for them, but for anyone regional Terra Australis who can access it. So that's now an option. So you can go on and you can basically get a month, 6 months or 12 month subscription on the website. And all the papers are there and you can read them. You can't download them or print them, they're only readable on the website, but that's an option for you. Also, the website directs you to where you can get the physical papers. Of course, you can always get the physical papers here, but there are places that stock them. If there are any new places that are stocking them, please make sure you let us know so we can get them on the map. Our next edition will be coming up very, very soon, and we wanted to really focus on where we're at right now and where we're going. So what have we achieved in this last little while, and where are we heading? And particularly focusing on the Declaration of Independence and Declaration of Peace. So for those who were there in the room at the Queensland Retreat, who were actually part of reading out the declarations, signing the document on the day, autographing. Thank you. You know, how did it change how you showed up in the world? Like, what's changed for you since then? If you've been on looking on the sidelines and now you're realising what's really going on, how will this change what's going on for you? So I really invite you to share your stories, particularly around this topic. We'd love to hear it, and we'd love to publish all this in the next edition because it's really a community paper. And speaking of the declarations, I've got autograph sheets here for those who are actually reconvened state nationals who haven't yet had an opportunity to autograph them and would like to do so before they leave today. This is how you contact us on the Terra Australis, so on the website, and you just use the drop-down box too. If you're going to publish your public notice, your notice of press in the paper, your business, if you want to send in a story or some other content, or you want to contact us, that's how you work. A reminder also of the amazing Terra Australis and TASA merchandise which is available, and you can create your own on the website. So you've seen Darren, Sean and Lookie supporting some of those today, and we've got the QR codes there so you can have a look at a few others as well. A couple other quick updates. There's new episodes available on the Terra Australis State Assembly podcast, so make sure you check those out. For the PET initiative, we've been talking about that a little bit. It is progressing, they are meeting regularly. At the moment though, the consideration is focused on bringing the invoking law, bringing that forward, so we've got that backing us before we go out and start knocking on the doors. So by all means still get involved, it's still going to keep progressing and we'll keep running these things in tandem. So I know there's a couple of people who are really keen to be involved in the public education tour initiative. Also, just briefly, we've been working on a letter to the WHO. Darren, you want to talk to the content of that for just a minute?
Sure. So the letter, we spent a few weeks doing it. So we got some feedback that apparently the Australian government's doing a deal with the WHO, and it has implications for Australians, and we care about that, of course. So Anna put the call out to all of the assemblies internationally to address the matter with the WHO. We took a slightly different view. We said, we're not a party to the WHO, and we're not Australians. Our service providers are engaged purportedly to deliver the services that the people want on these lands. And we know that there's some problems with them at the moment, but that's their role. Their job is to deliver services that the people want. So they're our service providers. So we don't really care who they do deals with in order to be able to deliver the services that we want. So they're free to do that. And that's why we haven't rushed to beat the 19th and all that sort of stuff. We've just said, look, you can do deals with whoever you want, even rapacious organisations like the WEF, the WHO, UN, whatever else. But you may not do harm to anybody on this soil and on this land. So that's been our approach. That's going to be, so Mookie will be autographing that with the notary on Monday, and then that'll get sent off to all of the politicians that work for the Australia Corporation and lots of the politicians that work for the Queensland Corporation and others. So really it's our first foray into this space. But I said at the beginning, we need to be thinking big. We need to recognise, everyone's heard the maxim that he who fails to assert his rights has none. And if we don't assert our authority, we have none. If we continue to acquiesce, if we continue to think that they have any power over us, they have power over us. So the only way that I can be free is by freeing myself. The only way I can stay free is if we all stand up together. But we are taking the point of view that we are the authority on this land. They have told us they're in the water, anything up to the shoreline. For goodness sake. So that's where we're at. We're at the stage where it's time for us to be, as Sean regularly says, sufficiently offensive. And it doesn't mean swearing at them, but it means being on the front foot, not acquiescing every time we're asked to acquiesce. Please.
Darren, this curriculum I think might accelerate a lot of things because as you even mainstream media shows, last September the Foreign Minister Penny Wong, although I've got a copy of it, did a press release. We've given WHO, a private company, $20 million to prevent any future pandemics. And then gave another 25 million about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Why is it that the Australian government has a health system already and a health minister that dealt with COVID, closing inverted commas, yet now they're seeking to outsource this? Like, it's either are they not capable or are they just, there's just something we don't know?
Well, they're laundering money as well, aren't they?
Mm.
So
They're bankrupt.
They're bankrupt, yeah. So this is a good template, a good test case for us. But our intention is, once that letter has been delivered, we have a good structure that we will use for other issues and other items as well. So even though we don't have the real ability to enforce the law until we seat our full assembly structure, so that's some of the local soil jurisdiction assemblies and our national, international jurisdiction assembly. That's our complete governance structure. And that's when we have absolute international recognition to be able to impose our authority on the corporations. But we need the weight of numbers. Because we're dealing with pirates, they're all in the water, but they're raping and pillaging. So we're dealing with pirates. They're not going to lay down just because we have the correct jurisdiction. Their lives depend on them maintaining control. And unfortunately at the moment they've got lots of policy enforcers, so not just the ones with the black uniforms, but the ones with the black robes in the courthouses and lots of other people, the doctors in the white robes, are policy enforcers that are quite happy to do harm because they don't know the bigger picture. And they don't recognise that they also are being targeted. They're all being made to take these poisonous jabs. One of my favourite things is, we cottoned on a few weeks ago, you know how there's all of these sudden illnesses and stage 4 cancers popping up spontaneously, and all these people with clots and all these people dropping dead, and the doctors are baffled. What is it when you baffle an exhaust system? You silence it. So
Doctors are baffled are in the April paper as well. Right.
thank you.
All right. Okay, just so you know, we have a new Facebook page, so we're trying to bring to mainstream social media now the Assembly message. So Terra Australis Assembly Connect is on Facebook, so please like, share, follow us, and this is where we're making a bit of a debut here today. So also, to make it easy for you to find TASA and our assemblies, we've got 2 new short names, so tasahome.net and tasanational.net. You'll be able to find this instead of Terra Australis States Assemblies.net, etc. So that will take you straight there with those short names, so make sure you get a note of those.
Is there a link we on the new website? Facebook link on the website?
No.
It's a good idea though, we'll do that. Yeah.
If
All right,
you've got a
Darren,
Facebook-
you want to do it?
If you've got a Facebook profile, please like it. Please like it, and then you'll get a feed from that.
Actually, what I'll do, great question, we'll add it to the Moreton Bay Assembly website as well, so you can get to it. So if you didn't know, there's a Moreton Bay Assembly website. They all sort of branch off from the national sort of site, but we'll put a story up there as well, so you can find the Facebook page. Right. So we put our events up there, and we put our stories up there. So I'll do that as a news and update. We've now got a Facebook page. Also, so that you know, we've got a new email address. So for anyone who is pushing back against the system and noticing the legacy system, GovCo, whatever, using the Eugene or other process, you can copy your correspondence to mortonbayassembly@tutor.com. So this isn't for other sorts of questions about how I do my paperwork or I'm coming to this meeting or that meeting. Please use Lynette's email for the regular correspondence. But if you're copying something in where you want to expect basically a recording office. So if you're going to court, you're having some issue with the court or you're pushing back against the police, you can copy it to that email address and we're recording it there so that they know that there are other people who are getting the communication at the same time that they are. Yep.
Can I throw up another thought? They did the research, this is the first time I've been to the 1990s. I did some research trying to find out what it was all about. There's a lot of competition out there on the homepage against TASA or the name of it. But I'm just wondering if that's the old website. It's possible to put a link on the old website, so I was having a new website.
So not an old website so much, but this is, this is just for people who are actually, it's not a website, it's an email address, and it's just for recording messages, so, thanks very much. Okay, just an idea, we've talked in the past about creating our own logo, or emblem. We still want to do that as part of, our assembly. So obviously Southern Downs have got one already, New England's got one. Rory was here, he was playing with a few ideas. This is the one he's flashed up in the middle. Obviously it's a work in progress, he wasn't able to progress it, but he gave me what he had so far. So I just wanted to show you the concept of, this is one of the concepts. Obviously you've got glossy here with the capitals and that sort of thing, so that would require some amendment. But I'd really encourage you to think about what represents Moreton Bay here, so that we can represent that in our emblem and a logo for our assembly. And offer some suggestions, please, because this is all about your assembly. So I'm really wanting some feedback from you all. So we don't have time to really go into it today, but I just wanted to let you know that this is still on the agenda. Do that. Okay. So just briefly, we've talked to the last couple of months about a community that thrives in creating a parallel economy in these times. So we know that we want to build our own infrastructure as things crumble, and we know that that's happening before us. We want to be proactive about finding ways that we can trade with each other. So ultimately, the community that thrives is one that can, trade amongst itself, but then also expand out and trade amongst other communities as well. So that's the trajectory and the path that we're on at the moment, and we've been working with Greg on a model that he has created in terms of creating communities. And it goes very, very well hand in hand with their assembly, so we're just matching those two things together. So on that journey, we've had a presentation with Greg. We've been asking people who want to be involved in this to fill out some details for this, our self-sustaining community. So what can you offer in terms of goods, services, time, listening ear, mowing the lawn, child mowing, doing the books, what have you. What could you offer your community, and what your skills are, what your training is, and what does our community need, so we can look for ways that things that we don't have within our own space that we can trade with others. And as an example, I've been chatting to the coordinator for the trauma assembly, and they're going great guns, and they've got a whole list of things that they're starting to think that they can trade with us. So what I'd like to do is come up with our list of things, and we can start talking to them about what we can trade. And the whole idea is about just creating those relationships, so you're not discounting, you're not giving it away for free, you're not marking up or whatever. It's actually like a trade, and we're using it through a currency app, which we'll be doing at the end of this if we have time. That's the plan. I wanted to touch briefly also on our community that thrives in terms of what we're doing, and can I just have Lynette speak to this for a couple of minutes? Yep.
This is pretty exciting for me. I just said to somebody earlier, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined that I and myself and my daughter would have been in this place we're in now. What I've seen, in this last 5 years is an amazing sense of building community. Now, it's very easy in a small town like Toowoomba. You know, it's a small community, they all know each other. You know, there's a lot of farms around and they all trade already with each other, right? We've come together from different areas in Brisbane, I mean mainly Moreton Bay, but people have come from further away than that, and we are developing community. And I feel incredibly grateful to be a part of that. You know, people bring along food, people bring along food to share, like lemons to spread around, turmeric, ginger. So everyone's doing something, and I have this real sense of coming together and really building that. And I had a personal experience a couple of weeks ago where I didn't tell anyone this, but I was in a situation where I needed to get my car serviced, but I also needed new tyres. So my service ended up being over $1,000 because I had to have new struts at the front, but I wasn't ready for the tyres. I didn't tell anyone this part of the story, but there were 4 guys standing around my car seeing that I needed new tyres. And they actually bought me. And they didn't realise that I wasn't ready to do that. So I just, you know, it's like the helping hand is there, the love is there, the support is there, and I really feel that building. And so that was just one personal experience that I had, but I believe everyone's having, and it's even just watching people talking and coming together and sharing experiences and being together. And so I feel incredibly grateful, and I can feel it happening in the building. And I believe this next step that we're going to take with our parallel community is going to only continue to enforce that. So for those of you that are ready to move into that, at the end of today, we'll be able to do that and set up our wallets and start trading with each other, and then we'll be able to start trading with other communities. But I can feel that building, so I feel very excited about that. Yeah, so thank you.
And the idea would be that we would come back next month and we'd actually organise a market as part of that as well, where we can actually start to facilitate that trade. And it's all a practice run until we can, you know, get better at it. So, all right. So just quickly now, so you know what's going on. We've got the National Assembly tomorrow online, 3 p.m. The link is on the National Assembly website, and it's posted up to Rumble after the fact. But you just basically go onto the National website, and there'll be a link to join at the time. So join us there. Upcoming events, so we've got Sunshine Coast Assemblies next weekend. The Queensland Assembly is the weekend after, so that's going to be at Banya, a new venue. We haven't been there before, but we're just spreading ourselves around a little bit for these Queensland regional assemblies. We're back here next month on the 13th of September, so that you know, and just making sure you're aware that that call with Richard every Wednesday is awesome. Make sure you get on that. He's always bringing that information, getting it more frequently than when we get together once a month. All of the information about where you can get onto all the calls during the week, whether they be across Terra Australis or the American ones that we can link you to, they're all on the National Assembly website by leadership and training down at the bottom. So final things from me, just to make sure you're joining the Moreton Bay Assembly chat. That's just for that chat amongst us, letting us know what's going on. So if we're having a market day or what have you, we'll be posting those sorts of things there. Please join us there. Make sure you're on the National Assembly Telegram, which is the second one. So that's I'm showing you what they look like as well as giving you the addresses there. There is a new room that you can join. So we had a room that was for coordinators only, and we've actually opened that up now. So that's going to be for those who are reconveyed state nationals. To join that, you need to contact me. So if you are a reconveyed state national and you want to join that coordinator room, that Terra Australis state nationals room for reconveyed only, I'll let you know. That's it. I'd like to welcome a special guest today. We've got two, and we've got Linda as well. But Greg, come on up and show us some skills about fire awareness and training.
Greg has left the building.
Come on, Greg. Come on down.
Hi folks, Joel asked me to do a bit of a talk on fire education, so this is going to be very basic, but the biggest thing I can say is don't play with matches. But three elements. Believe it or not, we've had house fires from kids playing with matches, playing under their house, and we've lost houses simply because of that. But there's three elements of fire: heat, fuel, oxygen. And if you take one of those elements away, then the fire will go out. Because most house fires, the windows, when the heat builds up, the windows will blow out. The oxygen just goes into the fire and the whole house is engulfed. But like things like 70% of fires start in the kitchen, and if you take one of those heat, fuel, oxygen away, that fire will go out. But most people panic. But this is why I bought the towel. If you have like an oil fire or food on the stove, the easiest way to get rid of it is grab a tea towel, grab a towel, wet it, put it in front of you, cover your hands, throw it over the pot or whatever's on fire. It's that simple. People don't think of it that way, but this is what we teach. And the other one is, if it's electric or gas, turn it off. No one thinks of it. No one thinks of it. They don't. And you've got a switchboard. If you can't reach the stove switch to turn it off, go to the power board, turn the power off. And another big thing. If your house, anything's on fire, we drive down the street at night time and we've got to find if it's not obviously involved in fire, we've got to find the house, the address. And again, it's something no one thinks about, but go out the front of the house. I'm serious, wave us down, because we can see you at the end of the street and we'll go straight to you instead of going slowly up the street looking for a street, a number, a house number. But yeah, it's as simple as you take one of those three elements away. Another thing is, it is a fact we teach kids in grade 1, get down low, go, 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 because when a house heats up, the smoke comes down, 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 down. You get down low, you're going to be able to breathe, you're going to be able to get out. Another thing, big thing, I have found bodies under windows. That's how close they were to getting out. You run the back of your hand up and down the wall, on your hands and knees, until you find a window or a door handle or something. You can tell the door when you hit it. But they're just simple, basic things that we teach, but most people are in a panic. And if, like with blokes, if a guy's been drinking, some guys do that apparently, and if a guy's been drinking, they'll stop their mate from driving home. And there's one in particular, we found the body down at Hamilton. The mate stopped him driving home, but because he was like disoriented, it wasn't his house, he died because he didn't know how to get out. But that's simple, one thing. Run your hand up and down the wall till you find a window. Smash it. Just throw a chair through it, anything. But if you smash the glass also and you yell out, neighbours, people, fireys, we're going to hear you. Another thing is if you've got a wool blanket, and if you are in a house fire, put the wool over you. It protects you. Grab a mattress, grab anything. Just get out. Because we don't like finding bodies. We found too many. Car accidents are another thing altogether. That's another subject altogether. But I've got a curious mind and I've got to find out who did what. And I always ask both drivers, what happened? What did you do? Most of them are dickheads. And they, for the sake of less than 10 seconds, most accidents happen on the road. 10 seconds. And I'll always ask them, what happened? And it's less than 10 seconds. What else? Hard act to follow some of these speakers.
No, you're doing good, mate.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. But do you have any questions? Because I can generally answer most of them. But, except Warren, shut up.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Most people have security on their windows.
Yes.
And you really can't get to the glass to smash it, to jump out the window. Cases like that.
Yeah.
Over secure.
Yeah. Trust me, if you're in a fire, in a house fire, you'll be scared. Just open your window, yell out until someone finds you. Someone will find you, especially if you make enough noise. So someone will find you. But because we get pretty upset when we find bodies and they could have got out. Most of them could have got out. That's why smoke alarms are so vitally important, because you only need about 4 parts per million with most modern plastics and in furniture to kill you these days. You don't need a lot. So most people, you'll go to sleep, you won't even wake. Because I had one lady, I found 2 little kids, and she wanted to know the condition of her baby's bodies. I couldn't tell her. I'd never tell her. But she wanted to know the conditions. I never understood it. But smoke alarms, they do save lives and change your battery every year. Most of us don't even think about it.
What about an escape plan?
Escape plans are great, and to have an escape plan teed up with your neighbours as well. Because when we do an evac in a building, most people, we go to a set area, and if someone doesn't turn up, well, you know, someone if you're trapped in your house, then someone knows, oh, hang on, Laurie hasn't turned up, whoever. But it's good to keep in touch with your neighbours if you have good neighbours. It's a bit of a bonus. And there was one other thing. I'll think of it when I sit down.
if you lock the door with a key, always make sure you've got a key near the door,
Yeah,
or in the door preferably, but
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, if you leave any doors, windows open, it's going to feed the fire. And it's only a matter of minutes. Like if there's people don't think it's a kitchen fire, and they think, oh, you know, I've got time to get out. And don't go back for your pets, because that fire will grow. As soon as the heat gets in there, it'll grow and grow and grow. And you won't get, if you go back, you won't get out. Chances are. Yeah, any other questions?
Me, in the past, I've been told that every 6 to 12 months you get your fire extinguishers and you pull them out and tip them upside down and tap them on against a tree to stop the caking. Is that still the case?
It is. They're better. They put aluminium sulphate in them now, but that's only bicarb. That's the red extinguisher with the white band, which are good for any fire whatsoever, chemical, electrical, liquid, anything. But yeah, it does pay just to shake them up.
And just, sorry, I'm jumping in there. I saw on a feed the other day a device with a dynamite wick, and it's a magnet you put inside your electrical box. If there's ever a fire, it sets the dynamite wick off, goes to the top, and it bursts open with the powder and puts the fire out. Have you heard of those? Are there still those here?
No, that would be a pretty good one.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good idea.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you could be there for years. With dynamite wick, they're pretty resilient and waterproof, you know.
Yeah.
So as soon as the fire kicks that off, it gets to the top, it explodes and lets the powder bomb off. Puts the fire out. So.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
Right.
And aircraft, yeah, sorry, go on.
I know, I just saw it online, so I was asking him.
And he knows nothing about it.
Yeah, I guess a 5-minute Google, you work it out.
Yeah. Got a question?
Yeah, I read that you can throw low-carb soda.
Yeah.
And also
Flour,
washing soda.
sugar, any powder. You can throw it, but do not put, if it's an oil fire, don't ever put water on it. It'll go whoosh. And there's your house on fire. But yeah, any powder, sugar, anything. Flour. And like I said, the towel, tea towel, but wet it and put it in front of you, protect your hands. So, I think that's it, unless anyone's got any more questions. Did I do a good, Mum?
Thanks so much, Greg. And we'll be having more of those as we gather each month. Also talking about food and water and all those sorts of preparations as well. So we just want to make sure that we're upskilling our community as much as we can. I'd like to welcome Rodney up to the front. Thank you very much, Rodney, from Moreton Bay Safe Community.
G'day everyone. No, I don't think so. Just let me know if you think I need it. Thanks Lynette and Fiona for inviting me along today. My talk will pale into insignificance following all these gentlemen, so bear with me. I'm the president of Moreton Bay Safe Communities. I'm also the president of the Burpengary Men's Shed, where we all meet here. This is our 10th year of operations, so I'm very proud of that organisation, because as well as Safe Communities, it connects me with so many other community groups in our area. It keeps my ear to the ground and keeps me informed of what our community's going through. And I've got to tell you, our communities are suffering, so I congratulate your group as well as Safe Communities, because we unearth some terrible and tragic things. The fire ant issue, the fluoride in the water, the homeless situations, to name a few. And all the groups that we used to connect with, they're all folding. All your little progress associations that used to meet in all the areas, they're all closing up. They've lost all their members. as part of the men's shed, we do a lot of sausage sizzles for fundraising. Safe Communities always does sausage sizzles to fundraise. We used to get one a month because they were divided up amongst all the community groups. But now we're getting 2 a week because the community groups aren't out there to do it. So the connection with the community, the old community free newspaper, it used to get thrown out on the footpath. That would tell you what council is doing. Local government is no longer there. So groups like us that talk and meet regularly connect our communities. So we are a vital part of our communities. So when you leave here, make sure you tell people of what you do, when you meet, take paperwork and pass it around. If you go for coffee, leave it there for someone else to pick up and have a read of, because you can twig their interest. I got involved in Safe Communities in 2017. I've run for council 3 times, 2012 against Adrian Riddell, who was convicted of corruption. That was why I ran. I wanted to highlight that corruption that 2016 I ran against the now Mayor, Peter Flannery, once again council corruption. I wanted to highlight that. In 2020 I ran against the councillor in Caboolture. They're all corrupt. No. They've all got their finger in the pie, we all know that, and I wanted to highlight that. I've run for One Nation 3 times. 2017, 2020, 2024. Once again to draw attention to what's going on in our community. I ran against the police minister. Once again, a corrupt person on the take.
So are you saying we can't vote harder? If we vote harder, we'll get out of this mess?
So I got involved in Safe Communities in 2017. I went on to give a talk on behalf of One Nation. After the talk, at the time, Safe Communities had been running for 3 years, from 2014. It was in the stages of folding. Ron and Raywin Hutchins, who started Safe Communities to deal with the spread of Islam. They thought at the time, going back all that time, that Islam was a major threat, which it is. In those cupboards over there, I've got boxes and boxes of books on Sharia law, Islam. We never drag them out now because the people that come along to Safe Communities aren't interested in it. That's why they failed. They had branches all over Australia. Safe Communities was in every state and all major cities, and they folded. 2017, when I got involved, I had to change direction of it, to take it from a one-trick pony, being Islam, to connecting back to the community and addressing community issues, which is what we've done now. And as you'd all be aware, going through COVID and trying to keep any community group going was a hard situation, but we sort of hung in there, and now we're back to growing again. So we deal with all those issues. The fire ant issue, we have guest speakers here. Fluoride in the water, we have speakers here. All the issues that are going on in the community, we try and address here. We get guest speakers all the time on addressing these issues. We meet the last Sunday of the month. And all the money we raise goes back into Safe Communities, and we funnel that back through different organisations and paperwork that are working in the community. So that's basically what Safe Communities does. I know we need probably to talk and get closer together. The time is the issue, getting people to do it. We're all time poor. As I said, I'm the president of this organisation. I'm trying to grow it. I have a passion for men. Not in that way, but I feel
2025.
I feel for the underdog. I deal with a lot of men's issues, homeless men, the rights of men. They're all in a bad situation where the class now is probably the second-class citizens. So, so that's my mantra. Okay. Are there any questions or no?
How many community-based groups are there in the Moreton Bay area
Now that's an
that you're
interesting-
aware
now,
of?
In 2020, there are 224. I used to go to meetings all the time chasing grants. I'd go to a politician's meeting who put one on to tell you about the upcoming grants. There were 224 community groups. Now I've got no idea because they've all folded. So, and trying to get in touch with those groups is very hard. They don't have a presence. You've really got to just stumble across them somewhere. You'll come across the koala group, the orchid group, just these little groups that have no presence at all, but you'll come across them. So to answer that question, I can't tell you.
Is it because the government stopped the grants going to those communities, those groups?
No, it's just that each they raise the bar, so they make it that hard for these groups to get them, and unfortunately, in a lot of cases, you've got to have insurance, third-party public liability insurance, about $1,500. If you don't manage to have that, there's a lot of places you can't meet. Safe Communities used to meet in one of the council buildings. To rent that room for 4 hours was $160. So, plus your third pub. So, we're fortunate here that I open these rooms up. We have the AA group here, we have dog obedience, we have the CWA, we have uniforms for kids, and they only pay $10 an hour, and they don't have to have insurance. So, I welcome all groups here. No other questions?
Yeah, I'll have one.
Yeah.
You mentioned fire ants there.
Yeah.
Is there any resolutions or anything going forward for that?
There are. We had a lady that gave a good presentation last month, and there are a lot of issues forthcoming. At our next meeting, we have her back again, who will touch on that issue, and we have another lady who has. She's got a movie coming out on her struggle since the COVID jab. So that's about. But there are a lot of. There's been a lot of ground made on the fire ant issue.
Yeah, because why I asked, I had the fire ant people en masse intimidation.
Yeah.
They had 9 youths outside my property. They weren't checking my property, but they were checking other properties.
Yep.
So I have a lock gate policy. I've had the gate for 30 years, and I now fly a Australia's national flag. And I told them they don't have jurisdiction on the property to come on the property, and they will be trespassing. They left me alone, but I'm expecting them to come back with the police. So I'd like to find out anybody else that has contact with these.
You'd all know that in our community there are that many issues that council and local government is rolling out, and your attention is taken off what you want to do to what you need to do. So your focus has always moved around, and it's so hard to keep groups together and focused on what they should be doing, because they're starting another little fire over here that you've got to attend to. So it's good that we're all talking, and it's good that we're all meeting, and we'll all be congratulated for what we do in our community. So thanks everyone for your effort.
Thank you.
There was a great little segue there. I want to latch on to. That's awesome. Government is not broken. It is working exactly the way it is intended to work. And that includes the corruption and all the other things, but it is doing what it is there to do. It's not broken. The only way that we stop this is by coming together in unity and by assembling. Assembling puts us in the correct standing, and it's the only way you can possibly, there is no other way to express the collective will of the people. I yield.
Thank you, Robbie. It was an honour to have you here because of the way that you've welcomed us into this space, and we're really grateful that we're able to meet here. So thank you very much for that and for everything that you've done. I couldn't think of anyone better to come as our first guest, so thank you very much. Also, you touched on some of the topics that are very close to our heart, being in this community, and we've talked about them. And in the February paper, we published a list of harms, and they're actually part of our Declaration of Independence as well, because part of what we needed to do was bring forth the reason why we were declaring independence, and we've got a whole list of reasons. And some of those are things that you've touched on, and we've talked about in our community fluoride. So John, that's something he's particularly interested in. And the fire ants is something that Linda and Lyndon are both interested in, Phil, so that you know. And myself, I've had them knocking on my door and putting notices in, and I've actually served a notice back to them 10 days ago. So I'm in a period.
Was that to the convulsion mob?
No, to the General Manager of the National Fire Eradication Program. So watch the space, I'll let you know how that goes. So just so you know, like, we are planning to create little action groups. So if you want to chat to us, afterwards, if there's others that have topical interest, we've talked about before, Carolyn wants to create the community gardens. So find what you're passionate about, bring that passion forward and gather with the men and women in this group, link arms with each other, because that's where we're going to create our community.
Absolutely.
So we had a little exercise which we're going to hold over for next time, which is about finding where you fit within our assemblies, and we hope that you join us next time for that, because it's really great that we're going to be able to bring and find our place within that. We've talked a lot about communities today, and so we are going to touch on, go into that a little bit more, but I know Neil wanted to speak for a few minutes. Before I bring Neil up, I just wanted to say this direction we're going on with creating the parallel economy and trading with ourselves and amongst ourselves is about finding those ways to thrive. And so you don't have to be Moreton Bay State National to be part of that community. It's just it's a way to bring everyone together. But what we would ask is that if you want to participate in that, you fill in that one-page thing that tells us what you can offer, because it's all about what can we bring. This trading is not about what we can get out of someone anymore, it's how can we give. That's where we want to come from. This whole movement is about being heart-centered. So if you can think about what you can give, and if you haven't yet filled that out, I've got some forms here, so if you want to put your hand up and come on over and get that. Anyone who's wanting to be involved in that, then what you do, we'll actually have a database. So we've created a spreadsheet, so everyone has put their details on there. We'll say, okay, I can do child money or lawn money or what have you. We're creating that list, and so then we can share that spreadsheet so you all know, well, I need someone to help look after my kids. I'm going to go see Trish. Or I need to go and get some stuff for my garden. I'm going to say, Andrew. So that's all I ask, is if you can fill that out, and if we can get those details, then what we'll be doing is setting people up with a wallet, which is a cryptocurrency. We're going to have a bit of a play with it, and we can see, hey, I'm going to trade this for that, and this is how we're going to pay each other, if that makes sense. So if Linda's handing those around if you like, and I'll just call Neil up to chat for a few minutes. Neil.
Sorry, Pete, do you want to just mention why you're using the crypto wallet instead of doing barter?
Yes. And that is because, thanks Darren, barter sort of works within your own community, but it doesn't work outside of that. So when if you were just bartering here and then you wanted to go and trade with Toowoomba or what have you, it all falls over. That's what's happened in the past, like historically, that's how it's all happened. So that's what I said at the beginning, we wanted to be able to thrive. So it's finding that common thing. We just agree that something is of value, and there's all these other communities that are already using this currency. There are 30 plus communities that are. So it's a way then of we agree on a value. So the T&E wallet that we'll be using is backed by gold, so it's pegged at a gold value. It doesn't go down in value. And so it's just agreeing that that's our method of exchange, really. And if we're using it, then it has that value. And it's a great point too, because ultimately what we'd be looking to do is use the AFD in the same way. So we're all getting AFD, or if you've got a global family group account at the moment, you're getting, as Moki started to touch on before, but we have to move on. We're getting money deposited into that account every month. So we're growing that, but we're not able to spend it yet. So if we can also look at ways that that can be opened up to trade, then that enables our whole Terrestrials community to be able to start trading with each other, because we've already got the funds there. In the meantime, we're building this up because this is a practice run, and we want to learn how to do it, because we don't want to be reliant on the government anymore. Basically, the guy that's bringing this forward, Greg, he lives 70% in the private and only 30%. He chooses when he interacts in the public. And it's to the extent that his wife is a kinesiologist, she has her own clinic, so she'll take T&E for payment for her services, for example. But when it comes to the products that she gives, if you come to an appointment, you have a kinesiology session, if she has to give you products, then it'll be half cash and half T&E for that, because she obviously has to reinvest back in the business. So it's about finding what works for you and the service that you provide, or the goods that you're providing, but looking ahead at how we can create that within our community in a way that we're not reliant on the government or the system, the fiat dollar at all. Does that make sense? We're all good with that agenda, or that plan?
Yes.
Yes.
Where's Neil?
Yeah, come on up.
Everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. I got together a few weeks ago with a few other members, and we wanted to start developing the Brisbane area, because obviously there's a lot of people in Brisbane, and so we come up with a website, and at the moment I'm getting Dan to deliver are you delivering these out, Dan? The brochure, the flyers?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it must be coming around. Anyway, this is an example of a flyer that you can do a bit of exercise and put them in letterboxes. And it's got a website on there, and it's a different approach. A lot of people find that one approach works well and others find another one works well, and they reckon you get about 1% of the amount of flyers you put out that are going to meet with people who agree with it and will take action. So I'm hoping to put out about 1,000 of these at least every 2 weeks, maybe every week. And that means that we might have 10 new members every week, which would be good. But we can't rely on these figures necessarily, but I think it's a way of doing things, and it gives you some exercise at the same time. It's a different angle. It's called Unite the People, and it's all about following up from the idea that there's probably millions of people in Australia that are dissatisfied with the system. And so this brochure or this flyer is designed to target those particular people and tell them that there's no point in having lots of fractured groups, that we need to unite together under one banner, and that's the only way we're going to have an influence and to get what we really want. So you'll probably all get a copy of these at some stage if it's been going around the room. And so there you are. That's just...
Before you finish, you've got unitethepeople.info. Is that a web page that you've designed?
Yes.
And so you'll be the one that will connect us back to this community?
No, the web page just gives people a little bit of information, and then it directs them straight away into the TASA website. So I don't get any... we do have a meeting once a month for anyone that's got any questions, but other than that, the website directs them straight to TASA.
Why do you have to use this website instead of our website?
Well, because it's a different approach. That's our logo, for instance, showing people rising up. It's all about uniting the people. TASA doesn't make that as a specific target. So this is all about uniting all the people in Australia under one banner. And so it's a different approach, that's all. That's why I'm using that website, which then directs them to TASA.
I have a habit of butting in. So this is a wonderful initiative. Anything that we can do to bring people together and point them at the common foe is very valuable for us. But as I mentioned at the beginning, we do need the weight of numbers. The whole balance of power thing is about saying the more people that are actively building the new world, which is what the assemblies are doing, the better off and the quicker we can bring an end to the tyranny. So we're encouraging everybody to be actively trying to bring people in and help them to learn what we're about. And as all of you be aware, the first time people bump into TASA or into the assemblies, they usually go, this is just absolutely wonderful, but they get distracted. It happened to myself several times. Because you sort of have to exhaust the other options before you realise that this is really the only way. You can go down and learn all about the statutes, and there are groups that do wonderful, wonderful work helping people beat fines and do these sorts of things. You can learn all about common law, and you can use that in the courts, and you can have some success beating a fine or ending one of the unwanted interactions. But that helps me with one fine. It doesn't help everybody else. But when we come together, when we assemble, when we start to put an end to the harms that are being caused, because we have proper standing and we are assembled properly and we are internationally recognised, meaning we are recognised in the international jurisdiction of the sea, then we can affect change. When we stop the fluoride, we stop it for everybody, not just for me. When we stop them going into homes for fire ant poisoning, we stop it for everybody, not just for me. And that's why the assemblies are so important. And these kinds of initiatives are wonderful because it's going to bring people to us. It might be a little bit covert and saying, come and have a look at the website for uniting everybody, but it's what we're doing. It's 100% what we're doing. So thank you so much.
You want to do the meat on here, meat on the meat on here.
Thanks, Aaron. All right, so just to close out, we're talking about building our community. As I said, we're going to do this TNU wallet now. Just to let you know, I did put up before Southern Downs some of the stuff that they're looking at sort of trading with us. So we'll get some more details. There'll be some details on prices and all that sort of stuff next month as well. If you can bring forth what you not only through that form, but have some thinking about, those sorts of things, and we can do that next time in the community market. John's let me know today that there's a guy at Bundaberg who's actually can get organic meat, so it's mince and beef and chicken and pork and all the rest of it. Really great prices, so he's going to let us know more details.
Yeah, he's a farmer and he does his own cattle, and he's looking at introducing chickens, fully dressed. They'll be fully dressed on the shelf. They'll be about 15 bucks. Oh, no, sorry, 2.5 kilo chicken product. Will be about 25 bucks, I think, which, per kilo, that probably works out to be about 10 bucks. And he's looking at sheep, and he's looking at other alternatives as well. He's got, beef and pigs, and the pigs I think he's going to start doing maybe in about 6 months, or maybe not quite, but as we learn more information, he's really keen to trade, but we need to, how that would work, we're not really sure at the moment, because he wants to, as he does a beast, he would want to do like a whole beast. So if we were to buy a beast as such, it would be all cut up, but who gets what parts, we'd need to work that out amongst ourselves. Obviously, as we get further along and we progress, in probably a year or 2 years from now, we may actually have an outlet where you can just buy a Scotch fillet, or you can buy a rump, or those other particular cuts you want. But in the beginning, he will be looking for more so bulk orders. Yeah.
So thank you very much to our live stream audience for joining us today. We're going to do this TNE wallet set up now, so for those who are in the room. And for those who are getting their wallet set up, I'm going to be transferring $100 to your wallet so that when we're ready to start trading next month, we're good, we're cashed up, and we're good to go. We're going to bring all our goods to trade. Apparently we have one more message.
I'm just cutting in. So I handed 3 of these around today. If you can please make sure you leave them. I put them around so you could actually read them. If you haven't had a chance to and you would like to, please do before you go, but they are not to take home. The other thing is that I just want to say that, just so you guys know, any money that is in excess of rent or otherwise our expenses, Fiona and I do not take any part of that. What we are doing is we are building funds for our assembly. We have already now been able to pay for the audio system, which we are using, that we outlaid for, that the assembly now owns. We also now, to our excitement, have bought ourselves a laser printer. So that printer... So Warren and I did the research, thank you Warren for your help, and so it was an online order, so we won't pick it up till next Wednesday, but by the time we get to next paperwork help day, we will have our own laser printer, right? So I'm very excited about that. To me, it's all part of building community. But I also want to give a shout out to my beautiful daughter Fiona. I don't know just how much any of you realise how much she puts in behind the scenes. So all the initiatives that we have, the T&E, the parallel community, you name it, I hand it over. My beautiful daughter is Thank you.
Lockie, go for it.
As you guys reconvey the new visa, the old heads will already know this, but as you reconvey, you stop signing, it's a SIN to sign, serial identification number, the SIN to sign. So you start autographing, and we autograph and we use a thumbprint, a right thumbprint when we leave our mark. We leave a thumbprint on the end of our mark, which symbolises a living man who's been there and seen that document and autographed that document. Anyway, the normal ink pads are pretty splotchy, it's not a very nice print at all. I do have pocket size, fob pocket ink pads, $5 each. $5 each. Going once, going twice. So grab it on the way out the door. I've got a bag full of them.
They're usually about $11 online, so that's really cheap.
Hang on. Here you go.